I want you to imagine something for a moment. You're walking down a dark alley. It's late. You're alone. Suddenly, you realize someone's following you. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. Every instinct screams danger. Now imagine finding out that person following you is your bodyguard, the one hired to protect you. Relief washes over you, right? Now imagine finding out your bodyguard is the one who's been sending the death threats. Welcome to Earth's relationship with Jupiter. For decades, we've called Jupiter our cosmic shield, our planetary bodyguard, the gravitational bouncer that keeps the solar system's riffraff from crashing our party. Every astronomy textbook, every documentary, every planetarium show tells the same story. Thank Jupiter for protecting Earth from asteroids and comets. Carl Sagan called it our guardian. Neil deGrasse Tyson thanked it for taking cosmic bullets for us. Your high school science teacher probably showed you a video of Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 hitting Jupiter and said, "See, without Jupiter, that would have been us." Yeah, about that story. Turns out it's less facts and more cosmic propaganda. What if I told you that Jupiter, our supposed protector, actually increases the number of asteroids that threaten Earth? What if that comet that hit Jupiter in 1994 was only there because of Jupiter? What if our shield is actually a cosmic trebuchet, flinging death rocks at us for 4.6 billion years? Imagine finding out your security system was manufactured by burglars, that your guard dog was trained by wolves, that your insurance company was running the accidents. That's Jupiter, and we've been thanking it for billions of years of attempted murder. Tonight, we're going to expose the biggest fraud in the solar system, a 4.6 billion year protection racket run by a gas giant with a god complex. The story of how a failed star has been playing cosmic pinball with asteroids, and Earth is one of the bumpers. This is the story of Jupiter, the planet that saved us, created us, and has been trying to kill us since day one. It's complicated, it's disturbing, it's the ultimate toxic relationship. And we're gravitationally bound to it, forever, till death do us part. Which, given Jupiter's track record, might be sooner than we think.
All right, astronomy fans, conspiracy theorists, and people who've accidentally clicked on this video and are too invested to leave now, welcome to 2 hours of existential dread disguised as science education. Grab your comfort beverage of choice, maybe a stress ball, definitely a blanket to hide under, because we're about to destroy everything you thought you knew about the solar system's largest planet. But first, let's get acquainted with our subject, or should I say, suspect. Meet Jupiter, named after the Roman king of gods, which should have been our first red flag. Nobody names something after the king of gods unless it has serious power, and as we all know, power corrupts. Absolute power? That corrupts absolutely. And Jupiter has absolute power over every piece of rock, ice, and cosmic debris in the outer solar system. The statistics of our suspect. Mass? 318 times Earth's mass. That's not a planet, that's a gravitational bully. If the solar system was a schoolyard, Jupiter would be the kid who hit puberty in 3rd grade and never stopped growing. It's twice as massive as all other planets combined, not added together sequentially, combined. It's hoarding mass like a cosmic prepper hoards toilet paper. Diameter, 88,846 miles. You could line up 11 Earths across Jupiter's face and still have room for a moon or two. It's so large that if it were hollow, you could fit 1,300 Earths inside it. Though why you'd want to climb inside Jupiter is beyond me. That's like voluntarily entering a giant's digestive system. Composition, 90% hydrogen, 10% helium, and trace amounts of methane, ammonia, and what I can only assume is pure malevolence. It's basically a failed star. Let that sink in. Jupiter wanted to be a star. It wanted to be a second sun in our solar system, but it failed. It didn't have enough mass to achieve nuclear fusion. So now we have a wannabe star with self-esteem issues and the gravitational influence to make everyone else miserable about it. It's the cosmic equivalent of a failed actor who becomes a bitter casting director, rejecting everyone else's dreams because their own didn't come true. Moons? As of today, 95 confirmed moons. 95! But that number keeps growing because Jupiter keeps capturing new ones. It's not satisfied with its moon collection. It sees an asteroid floating by, minding its own business, and Jupiter's like, "You're a moon now. Congratulations." Or condolences. Depends how you feel about being gravitationally enslaved. The Great Red Spot, a storm larger than Earth that's been raging for at least 350 years. We don't know exactly how long because it was already there when we invented telescopes good enough to see it. For all we know, it's been there since Jupiter formed, just spinning, consuming smaller storms, growing, shrinking, but never stopping. It's like Jupiter's angry eye, constantly watching, constantly judging, constantly plotting. But here's the really terrifying part. Jupiter's influence extends far beyond its visible surface. Its magnetic field is 20,000 times stronger than Earth's. If you could see magnetic fields with your naked eye, Jupiter's would appear 2 to 3 times larger than the full moon in our sky, despite being hundreds of millions of miles away. This magnetic field extends 3 million miles toward the sun and 600 million miles away from the sun. That's past Saturn's orbit. Jupiter's magnetic influence literally reaches other planets. It's not content to just dominate its own space. It needs to make sure everyone knows it's there. And that gravitational pull, it's so strong it literally turns its moon Io inside out. Io has over 400 active volcanoes because Jupiter's gravity squeezes and stretches it like cosmic stress ball. The tidal forces create so much internal friction that Io's interior is molten. Jupiter is literally torturing its own moon and has been for billions of years. Jupiter's radiation belts would kill a human in minutes. Not hours, not days, minutes. If you were somehow able to stand on the surface of Europa, one of Jupiter's moons that might harbor life, you'd receive 5,400,000 microsieverts per day. For context, 100,000 microsieverts in a day would give you radiation sickness. 2 million would kill you. Jupiter gives you nearly triple the lethal dose every single day. This isn't a planet, it's a radioactive gravitational magnetic monster that happens to be sphere-shaped. To understand Jupiter's true nature, we need to talk about gravity. Not the gentle apple falls from tree gravity that Newton wrote about. We're talking about Jupiter gravity, the kind that can rip moons apart, trap asteroids for millions of years, and fundamentally reshape the entire solar system. Jupiter's gravity is so intense that it actually affects the sun. The center of gravity between Jupiter and the sun, what astronomers call the barycenter, is actually 30,000 miles outside the sun's surface. Jupiter doesn't orbit the sun so much as they dance together, with the sun wobbling like a drunk dance partner trying to keep up. The Roche limit, Jupiter's kill zone. Every massive object has something called the Roche limit, the distance at which tidal forces become stronger than an object's own gravity. Get too close and you get torn apart. For Earth, this distance is about 11,000 miles. For Jupiter, it's 175,000 miles for a rigid body and even further for something held together loosely like a comet. When Shoemaker-Levy 9 passed within Jupiter's Roche limit in 1992, it didn't just break, it shattered into 21 pieces strung out like pearls on an invisible string. Each piece was still massive enough to cause an extinction event if it hit Earth. Jupiter turned one dangerous object into 21 dangerous objects, then acted like a hero for catching them all. That's like a juggler starting a fire, breaking the fire extinguisher into pieces, juggling the pieces, then wanting applause for not dropping any on the audience. Thanks, but maybe don't start fires in the first place. Io, the torture victim. Let's talk about what Jupiter does to things that can't escape. Io, Jupiter's innermost large moon, is the most volcanically active body in the solar system. Not because it's young or has radioactive elements heating its interior. No, Io is volcanic because Jupiter is literally squeezing it to death. Every 42.5 hours as Io orbits Jupiter,
The massive planet's gravity causes Io's surface to bulge by up to 330 feet. Not the ocean, the solid rock surface. Imagine the ground beneath your feet rising and falling 330 feet twice a day. The friction from this constant flexing generates so much heat that Io's interior is molten. Io has over 400 active volcanoes. Some shoot sulfur and sulfur dioxide 300 miles into space. That's higher than the International Space Station orbits Earth. These aren't gentle volcanic emissions. These are the screams of a moon being tortured by its parent planet. And Jupiter has been doing this to Io for 4.5 billion years. That's 4.5 billion years of gravitational waterboarding. If moons could file restraining orders, Io would have a case file thicker than the Encyclopedia Britannica. Europa, the prisoner with Stockholm Syndrome. Europa might have more water than Earth, a global ocean beneath its ice shell. This ocean exists because, like Io, Europa is being tidally heated by Jupiter. But Europa is farther away, so instead of surface volcanoes, it has a subsurface ocean kept liquid by Jupiter's gravitational abuse. Scientists get excited about Europa because it might harbor life, but think about what kind of life would evolve there. In complete darkness, the ice shell is miles thick, under crushing pressure deeper than Earth's oceans, bombarded by radiation because Jupiter's magnetic field accelerates particles to near light speed, in water that's probably more like a toxic brine than anything you'd want to swim in, and while being constantly squeezed by tidal forces. If there's life on Europa, it evolved in Jupiter's torture chamber. It's adapted to conditions that would kill Earth life in seconds. And we want to go say hello? That's like knocking on the door of a house where you hear chainsaws and screaming and thinking, I bet they're friendly. Ganymede, the moon that tried to resist. Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system, bigger than Mercury. It's the only moon with its own magnetic field, which it probably developed as a defense mechanism against Jupiter. But Jupiter's magnetic field is 20,000 times stronger than Earth's. Ganymede's little magnetic field is like bringing a butter knife to a nuclear war. The interaction between the two magnetic fields creates spectacular auroras on Ganymede. Scientists call them beautiful. I call them the electromagnetic screams of a moon being slowly electrocuted by its parent planet.
Look at the moon. Go outside on a clear night and really look at it. See all those dark patches? Those are called Maria, Latin for seas, because early astronomers thought they were oceans. They're not. They're scars. Massive impact basins filled with ancient lava flows. The moon's face isn't decorated with seas. It's covered in wounds. And most of those wounds happened during a period called the Late Heavy Bombardment, approximately 4.1 to 3.8 billion years ago. For 300 million years, the inner solar system was turned into a cosmic shooting gallery. And we now know who pulled the trigger. The Nice model, when giants played pinball. Named after the city of Nice, France, where it was developed, this model finally explained the Late Heavy Bombardment, and the explanation is terrifying. Here's what happened. The giant planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, didn't form where they are now. They formed closer together in a more compact configuration. For about 600 million years, things were relatively stable. Then Jupiter and Saturn's orbits evolved into a 2-to-1 resonance, meaning Saturn orbited once for every 2 Jupiter orbits. This resonance was like a gravitational earthquake that never stopped. It destabilized everything. Neptune and Uranus, previously in stable orbits, got thrown around like cosmic pinballs. Neptune actually switched places with Uranus, getting flung outward into the Kuiper belt like a bowling ball into pins. Billions of comets and asteroids that had been peacefully orbiting suddenly had their orbits disrupted. And where did many of these objects go? Inward, toward the sun, toward the inner planets, toward Earth. The bombardment begins. For 300 million years, Earth, the Moon, Mars, Venus, and Mercury were pelted with asteroids and comets. We're not talking about a few impacts here and there. We're talking about a sustained artillery barrage that lasted longer than complex life has existed on Earth. The impacts were so intense that Earth's oceans boiled away completely, multiple times. The atmosphere was blown off into space, multiple times. The surface was molten rock in many places. Any life that had evolved was almost certainly wiped out. The Imbrium Basin, that big dark spot you can see with the naked eye, was created by an impact that would have destroyed all life on Earth. The impactor was probably 150 miles wide. For comparison, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs was only 6 miles wide. And the Moon has multiple basins this size, all from the Late Heavy Bombardment. All because Jupiter and Saturn decided to do a gravitational dance that threw the entire solar system into chaos. Jingery, Jupiter didn't protect us from the Late Heavy Bombardment. Jupiter caused the Late Heavy Bombardment. Along with Saturn, sure, but Jupiter was the ringleader. It's always the ringleader. Life's reset button. If life existed before the Late Heavy Bombardment, and some scientists think it did, it was almost certainly wiped out. We're not the first attempt at life on Earth. We're probably attempt number 2, or 3, or 10. We don't know because Jupiter kept hitting the reset button. We exist in the brief window between bombardments. We're like tenants in an apartment where the landlord occasionally goes on demolition sprees. We've just happened to evolve during one of the quiet periods.
Between Mars and Jupiter lies the asteroid belt. It contains millions of asteroids, from tiny pebbles to the dwarf planet Ceres, which is about 600 miles wide. Your high school teacher probably told you it's left over from the formation of the solar system. That's partly true, but what they probably didn't tell you is why it's left over. The asteroid belt should be a planet. There's enough material there to make a small planet, something between the size of the Moon and Mars. But it's not a planet. It's a debris field. And it's a debris field because of Jupiter. How planets normally form. In the early solar system, dust and gas swirled around the young sun. This material gradually clumped together through gravity and static electricity. Small grains became pebbles, pebbles became boulders, boulders became planetesimals, planetesimals became planets. This process worked great for Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. So what went wrong in the asteroid belt? Jupiter, the planetary prevention system. Jupiter's massive gravity prevented the asteroids from ever combining into a planet. Every time 2 asteroids tried to gently come together to form something larger, Jupiter's gravity either pulled them apart, sped them up so they smashed together and shattered, or flung them out of the belt entirely. It's like trying to build a sandcastle while someone keeps kicking it for 4.6 billion years. Jupiter is that kid at the beach who can't stand to see other kids build something nice. The Kirkwood Gaps, Jupiter's kill zones. If you map the asteroid belt by distance from the Sun, you'll notice something weird. There are gaps, empty zones where there should be asteroids but aren't. These are called Kirkwood Gaps, and they're caused by orbital resonances with Jupiter. At certain distances from the Sun, an asteroid would orbit in a perfect ratio with Jupiter, say 3 asteroid orbits for every 1 Jupiter orbit. These resonances are unstable. Jupiter's repeated gravitational tugs at the same point in the orbit eventually fling the asteroid out. But here's the terrifying question. Where do these ejected asteroids go? Some get flung to the outer solar system. Some get ejected from the solar system entirely, but many, too many, get flung inward, toward Mars, toward Earth, toward us. The Kirkwood Gaps aren't just empty spaces, they're launch pads, and Jupiter is constantly loading them with ammunition. The near-Earth asteroid population. As of 2024, we've discovered over 34,000 near-Earth asteroids. These are asteroids whose orbits bring them close to Earth's orbit. Where did they come from? Mostly from the main asteroid belt. How did they get here? Mostly because of Jupiter. Studies show that about 37% of near-Earth asteroids came from the asteroid belt via Jupiter's gravitational influence. Another 25% came from Jupiter family comets that lost their ice. That's 62% of Earth-threatening asteroids that exist because of Jupiter. Jupiter isn't protecting us from asteroids. It's running an asteroid delivery service, and Earth is on the route. The Yarkovsky effect, Jupiter's accomplice. The Yarkovsky effect is a tiny force caused by the way asteroids absorb and re-emit sunlight. It slowly changes asteroid orbits over millions of years. Normally, this is a very small effect, but when combined with Jupiter's gravitational resonances, it becomes a conveyor belt, sending asteroids toward Earth. Here's how it works. The Yarkovsky effect slowly drifts an asteroid's orbit. The asteroid drifts into one of Jupiter's resonances. Jupiter's gravity amplifies the orbital change. The asteroid gets ejected from the belt. Hello, new Earth-crossing asteroid. It's a two-stage process. The Yarkovsky effect is like a butler gently escorting asteroids to the door. Jupiter is the bouncer who throws them down the stairs.
About a light year from the Sun, far beyond the orbit of Neptune, beyond the Kuiper belt, lies the Oort cloud. It's a vast sphere containing trillions of comets. These are pristine chunks of ice and rock, leftovers from the solar system's formation, sitting out there in the cosmic deep freeze, minding their own business, until Jupiter gets involved. How Jupiter imports comets. The Oort cloud is so far away that comets there are barely bound to the Sun. The slightest gravitational nudge can change their orbits. And Jupiter, despite being 500 million miles from the Sun when closest to Earth, has gravitational influence that reaches all the way out there. It works like this. A distant star passes within a few light years of the Sun, happens every few million years. This disturbs some Oort cloud comets. These comets start falling toward the Sun. Jupiter's gravity catches some of them. Jupiter either captures them or flings them around. Now here's where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean terrifying. The Comet Modification Program. When a long-period comet, one that takes thousands or millions of years to orbit, falls toward the Sun, it has a few possible fates. Option 1, direct impact with Jupiter, like Shoemaker-Levy 9. Jupiter saves us by eating the comet. Headline celebrate. We've already covered why this is like thanking an arsonist for putting out their own fire. Option 2, gravitational capture. Jupiter captures the comet into a shorter orbit. Now, instead of visiting once every million years, it visits every few decades. And every pass is another chance to hit Earth. Option 3, gravitational slingshot. Jupiter flings the comet in a random direction. Could be out of the solar system, good. Could be directly at Earth, bad. It's Russian roulette with extinction-level events. Let's talk about Jupiter family comets. These are comets that Jupiter has adopted. They have orbital periods less than 20 years and orbit between Jupiter and the Sun. There are about 700 known Jupiter family comets, and probably thousands more we haven't discovered. Every single one of these is a potential Earth impactor, and they only exist in their current orbits because Jupiter put them there. Comet Encke, a case study in orbital manipulation. Comet Encke has the shortest orbital period of any known comet, just 3.3 years. It's also the source of the Taurid meteor shower, which Earth passes through twice a year. But Encke wasn't always on this orbit. Studies of its orbital evolution show that Jupiter has been tweaking Encke's orbit for thousands of years. Every close approach to Jupiter changes the orbit slightly. Models predict that in about 10,000 years, Jupiter will have modified Encke's orbit enough that it could collide with Earth, break apart sending fragments toward Earth, or be ejected from the inner solar system. We don't know which. It depends on the exact timing of gravitational interactions that we can't predict that far in advance. It's cosmic Russian roulette, and Jupiter is spinning the cylinder. Thanks for the excitement, Jupiter. Our descendants will really appreciate the surprise. Halley's Comet, Jupiter's puppet.
Even famous Halley's Comet is under Jupiter's influence. Every time Halley passes Jupiter, every 76 years or so, its orbit changes slightly. Over time, these changes accumulate. In 1910, Earth actually passed through Halley's tail. People panicked, thinking we'd all be poisoned by cyanide gas. We weren't, the tail was too diffuse. But what if Jupiter's gravitational tweaking eventually sends Halley's nucleus directly at Earth instead of just its tail? The numbers don't lie. Recent studies by Dr. Jonti Horner and colleagues show that Jupiter increases long-period comet impacts on Earth by 35%. It creates the entire Jupiter family comet population, a 100% increase from zero. It destabilizes previously safe comets. It breaks large comets into multiple dangerous fragments. Net effect, Jupiter roughly doubles our comet impact risk. We've been thanking our dealer for occasionally not selling us poison drugs. That's not protection, that's a protection racket.
To understand the full scope of Jupiter's crimes against the solar system, we need to go back to the beginning. Not the beginning of life, not the beginning of Earth, the beginning of the planets themselves. 4.6 billion years ago, when the solar system was young and full of potential. And then, Jupiter ruined everything. The Grand Tack hypothesis. The Grand Tack model, proposed by Kevin Walsh and colleagues in 2011, finally explained a bunch of mysteries about our solar system. Why Mars is so small, why the asteroid belt exists, why there's no planet between Mars and Jupiter, why the inner solar system has so little mass, why Earth has water. The answer to all these questions? Jupiter went on a road trip. Here's what happened. Stage 1, formation, 4.6 billion years ago. Jupiter formed about 3.5 AU from the Sun. 1 AU equals Earth-Sun distance. It quickly grew massive by gobbling up gas from the protoplanetary disk. Within just a few million years, it was already 20 times Earth's mass and growing. Stage 2, the inward migration. As Jupiter grew, it interacted with the gas disk around the Sun. This interaction caused Jupiter to spiral inward like a boat creating a wake that pushes it forward. Jupiter migrated all the way to 1.5 AU, where Mars orbits now. But here's the thing, there were already planets forming in the inner solar system. Not Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars as we know them. Different planets, what scientists call Generation 1 planets. They were probably super-Earths, several times Earth's mass. Jupiter plowed through them like a cosmic wrecking ball. The first planetary genocide? As Jupiter migrated inward, it destabilized the orbits of Generation 1 planets, caused them to collide with each other, pushed many into the Sun, ground others into asteroids, and scattered their remains throughout the inner solar system. This wasn't creation, this was annihilation. Jupiter committed planetary genocide, and we're living in the ruins. Stage 3, the outward migration. Saturn formed and grew massive enough to catch up with Jupiter. When they entered a 3-to-2 orbital resonance, 3 Jupiter orbits for every 2 Saturn orbits, something changed. The resonance reversed Jupiter's migration. Both giants started moving outward. Stage 4, the second wave of destruction. As Jupiter migrated back outward, it scattered more planetesimals, prevented the asteroid belt from forming a planet, truncated Mars's formation, that's why Mars is so small, and triggered the Late Heavy Bombardment, which we've already covered. Our solar system isn't natural. It's the aftermath of Jupiter's rampage. We're living in a post-apocalyptic planetary system, and we don't even realize it. What should have been? Without Jupiter's Grand Tack, our solar system would likely have several super-Earths in the inner system, a Mars-sized or larger planet where the asteroid belt is, a full-sized Mars, possibly habitable, more water in the inner solar system, more stable and circular orbits for all planets. Instead, we got
4 small rocky planets, the survivors of the apocalypse, an asteroid belt, a planetary graveyard, a tiny Mars stunted by malnutrition, chaotic elliptical orbits, constant asteroid and comet bombardment. Earth built from corpses. Here's a really messed up part. Earth was formed from the debris of the planets Jupiter destroyed. We're made from the shattered remains of worlds that came before. Every atom in your body, except hydrogen, was forged in stars and incorporated into planets that Jupiter murdered. We're not just living in a graveyard. We are the graveyard reconstituted into a new planet. We exist because of a massacre. Earth is a Frankenstein's monster of a planet stitched together from the corpses of its predecessors. And we thank Jupiter for it, because without that massacre, we wouldn't exist. It's the ultimate Stockholm syndrome. We love our abuser because the abuse created us.
Picture this. You're in a war, and your enemy has positioned 2 massive armies at strategic points. These armies aren't attacking yet. They're just waiting, watching, growing in number. And you can't do anything about it because the same gravitational physics that keeps you in orbit also keeps them stable. Welcome to the reality of Jupiter's Trojan asteroids. Lagrange points, the cosmic sweet spots. In any 2-body orbital system, there are 5 points where gravitational forces balance out, Lagrange points. At these points, objects can remain relatively stable for millions or billions of years. Jupiter's L4 point, 60 degrees ahead in its orbit, and L5 point, 60 degrees behind, are home to 2 massive populations of asteroids. We call the L4 group the Greek camp and the L5 group the Trojan camp, after the Trojan War, which is fitting because these asteroids represent a potential war against Earth that we're currently losing. The numbers are terrifying. Current estimates suggest there are over 1 million Trojan asteroids larger than 1 kilometer, about 600,000 larger than 2 kilometers, around 200,000 larger than 5 kilometers, several thousand larger than 10 kilometers. For perspective, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs was 10 kilometers. Jupiter has thousands of dinosaur-killers just sitting there, waiting. And here's the thing about stable orbits in astronomy. They're only stable until they're not. These asteroids are in a gravitational Mexican standoff. Any small perturbance could trigger a cascade. The escape scenarios. Trojan asteroids can escape their Lagrange points through mutual collisions. With millions of asteroids in relatively small regions, collisions happen. When 2 asteroids collide, the fragments fly off in different directions. Some fall toward Jupiter. Some get ejected from the solar system. Some head inward, toward us. Gravitational perturbations. Other planets, especially Saturn, occasionally tug on the Trojans. These tugs are tiny, but over millions of years they add up, like erosion carving a canyon. These perturbations slowly destabilize Trojan orbits. The Yarkovsky effect. Remember our friend the Yarkovsky effect? It works on Trojans too, slowly, inexorably pushing them out of their stable points. And Jupiter's own moons. Jupiter has 95 moons, creating a complex gravitational environment. Their combined influence creates chaos in what should be stable regions. Studies show that about 15 to 30% of Jupiter's Trojans will eventually escape. Let's do the math. 1 million Trojans times 20% escape rate equals 200,000 escaped asteroids. Where do they go? Well, they become Jupiter family comets if they have ice, Mars-crossing asteroids, Earth-crossing asteroids, main belt asteroids temporarily, solar system escapees if we're lucky, Even if only 1% of escaped Trojans become Earth crossers, that's 2,000 potential impactors from one source that Jupiter maintains. Earth's Trojan poverty. Earth has exactly one known Trojan asteroid, 2010 TK7. It's about 300 meters wide and desperately alone. Why does Earth only have one while Jupiter has millions? Because Jupiter's gravity disrupts Earth's Lagrange points. Jupiter literally prevents Earth from having its own asteroid collection while hoarding millions for itself. It's like a neighbor who complains about your one garden gnome while they have a yard full of thousands of armed garden gnomes pointed at your house. The Trojan time bombs. NASA's Lucy mission, launched in 2021, is visiting Jupiter's Trojan asteroids. They frame it as exploring fossils of planet formation. I frame it as checking how much ammunition Jupiter has stockpiled. Every Trojan asteroid is a potential bullet. Jupiter has millions of bullets, and orbital mechanics is slowly, randomly loading them into the gun. You might think all this asteroid flinging and comet catching is ancient history, something that happened billions of years ago when the solar system was young and chaotic. Wrong. Dead wrong. Dangerously wrong. Jupiter is actively, right now, as you watch this, modifying asteroid and comet orbits. It's not resting on its laurels after 4.6 billion years of cosmic terrorism. It's still working, still throwing rocks, still playing gravitational pinball with objects that could end civilization. Jupiter's current operations. Let me break down what Jupiter is doing right now. Every single day, gravitationally perturbs approximately 10,000 asteroid orbits. Most changes are tiny, but they accumulate. Influences dozens of comet trajectories, tortures its inner moons with tidal forces, radiates enough energy to affect spacecraft trajectories. Every year, significantly alters 100+ asteroid orbits, captures 1 to 2 new temporary moons, loses 1 to 2 temporary moons. They have to go somewhere. Creates new orbital resonances with main belt asteroids. Every century, ejects asteroids from the main belt, captures or destroys at least one significant comet, causes major orbital shifts in hundreds of asteroids, triggers escape of Trojan asteroids. The Kirkwood Gaps I mentioned earlier, they're not historical artifacts. They're active firing ranges. Jupiter is constantly clearing asteroids from these resonance zones, flinging them in random directions like a cosmic shotgun blast. Case study, 2019 LD2, the asteroid having an identity crisis. In 2019, astronomers discovered an object that couldn't decide what it wanted to be. Initially classified as a Trojan asteroid, it started showing comet-like activity. Then its orbit changed. Then it left the Trojan region entirely. What happened? Jupiter happened. Jupiter's gravity, combined with gravitational kicks from its moons, destabilized LD2's orbit. It went from being a stable Trojan to a Jupiter family comet in just a few years. We watched it happen in real time. This isn't ancient history, this is last Tuesday. Jupiter is actively converting stable asteroids into Earth-threatening comets, and we're watching it happen through our telescopes like witnesses to a slow-motion crime. The discovery paradox. Here's something that should terrify you. The more we look for asteroids, the more we find them. Not just because our telescopes are getting better, but because Jupiter keeps making new Earth crossers. 1990, 170 known near-Earth asteroids. 2000, 1,000 known. 2010, 7,000 known. 2020, 25,000 known. 2024, 34,000 known. Some of these are new discoveries of old asteroids, but many are asteroids that recently became Earth crossers thanks to Jupiter's gravitational meddling. Apophis, Jupiter's slow burn project. Asteroid 999,442 will pass close to Earth in 2029, 2036, and 2068. Each pass could potentially result in an impact. But here's what most people don't know. Jupiter is actively modifying Apophis's orbit.
Every time Apophis swings through the outer solar system, Jupiter gives it a tiny gravitational nudge. These nudges accumulate. Computer models show that Jupiter's influence could be the difference between Apophis missing Earth and hitting it. We're calculating impact probabilities while Jupiter is literally changing the variables in real time. It's like trying to predict where a pinball will go while someone's tilting the machine. Comet Ison. What Jupiter does to sun-grazer comets. Remember Comet Ison? Comet of the Century, they called it in 2013? It was supposed to be spectacular. Instead, it disintegrated when it passed close to the sun. But here's what they didn't emphasize. Ison was a sun-grazer because of Jupiter. Jupiter's gravity modified its orbit from a safe, distant path to a death dive towards the sun. Jupiter turned a harmless comet into a kamikaze missile. It missed Earth, but only barely.
Let's talk about Jupiter's moons. All 95 of them. That's not a typo. 95 moons. And that number keeps growing because Jupiter keeps capturing new victims. I mean, moons. For comparison, Earth has one moon, which we're lucky to have kept. Mars has 2 tiny captured asteroids. Jupiter has 95 and counting. This isn't a planet with satellites. This is a gravitational dictator with prisoners. The Galilean moons, the abused children. The 4 largest moons, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto, are worlds in their own right. If they orbited the sun instead of Jupiter, we'd call them planets. Instead, they're trapped in an abusive relationship with a gas giant that's slowly destroying them. Io, the perpetual torture victim. We've touched on Io before, but let's really dig into the horror. Io is the most geologically active body in the solar system, with over 400 active volcanoes. But this isn't natural geological activity. This is torture. Every 42.5 hours, as Io completes one orbit, Jupiter's gravity causes the solid surface to rise and fall by 330 feet, internal friction that generates 100 trillion watts of heat, volcanic eruptions that shoot material 300 miles high, the entire moon to be turned inside out every few million years? Io's surface is younger than most Hollywood actors, constantly renewed because it's constantly destroyed. Jupiter has been doing this for 4.5 billion years. That's 39 billion orbits of gravitational torture. Io screams sulfur dioxide into space. Its volcanic plumes are visible from Earth with a good telescope. We're literally watching a moon being tortured from 400 million miles away. Europa, the prisoner with false hope. Europa probably has twice as much water as Earth's oceans, hidden beneath miles of ice. Scientists get excited about potential life there, but let's think about what that life would experience. Complete darkness, sunlight can't penetrate the ice, pressure that would crush a submarine, radiation levels that would kill you in minutes, constant tidal flexing causing underwater earthquakes, and water that's probably more like antifreeze than anything you'd recognize. If life exists on Europa, it evolved in conditions that make Earth's deepest ocean trenches look like vacation resorts. Oh, and the best part? The only reason Europa's ocean exists is because Jupiter is squeezing it like a stress ball. The moment Jupiter stops, the ocean freezes solid. The life depends on its torturer for survival. It's the ultimate Stockholm syndrome. Ganymede, the moon that tried to fight back. Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system, bigger than Mercury. It's the only moon with its own magnetic field, probably generated by a liquid iron core. That magnetic field was probably evolution's attempt at protection from Jupiter. It failed. Jupiter's magnetic field is so strong that it completely dominates Ganymede's. The interaction creates auroras brighter than Earth's, radiation belts within radiation belts, electromagnetic storms, induced electrical currents in the subsurface ocean. Ganymede tried to shield itself and instead became an electromagnetic punching bag.
It's like bringing armor to a nuclear war. You're still dead, just slightly more slowly. Callisto, the forgotten victim. Callisto is the most heavily cratered object in the solar system. Its surface is 4 billion years old, covered in impact scars. Every crater is evidence of violence. And why does Callisto have so many craters? Because Jupiter's gravity attracts asteroids and comets to the Jovian system. Callisto is essentially Jupiter's shield, taking impacts meant for the inner moons. Except, Jupiter is the reason those impacts happen in the first place. The captured moons. The kidnapped. Beyond the Galilean moons are 91 smaller moons, most of which are captured asteroids. Captured is a polite way of saying kidnapped and gravitationally enslaved. These moons orbit in every direction. Some orbit backward, retrograde. Some have highly elliptical orbits. Some swap orbits with each other. Many will eventually collide or be ejected. Jupiter collects moons like a cosmic hoarder. It sees an asteroid floating by and thinks, mine now. No consent, no escape, just eternal servitude until they either crash into something or get flung into space. The moons that didn't make it. Shoemaker-Levy 9 was probably a moon of Jupiter before it was a comet. Jupiter captured it, tortured it with tidal forces, broke it apart, and then consumed it. How many other moons has Jupiter destroyed? We don't know. But given that it currently has 95 and keeps capturing new ones, the death toll is probably significant. Jupiter's moon system is like a cosmic Hotel California. Moons check in, but they don't check out. Unless it's in pieces, or as radiation-blasted debris, or by being ground into dust by tidal forces.
Think Jupiter's done with us? Think 4.6 billion years of cosmic abuse is enough? Oh, sweet summer child. Jupiter's just getting warmed up. Let's talk about what it has planned for the future. And by planned, I mean the inevitable gravitational consequences of its existence that will probably kill everything. The next 100 million years, the appetizers. As the sun ages, it gets brighter, about 1% every 100 million years. This might not sound like much, but it causes Jupiter's atmosphere to warm and expand. Slight changes in Jupiter's gravitational field, orbital resonances to shift, new asteroids to enter unstable zones. Computer simulations show that within 100 million years, these changes will trigger a 30% increase in asteroid impacts on Earth, potential destabilization of Mars's orbit, escape of 10 to 20% of Trojan asteroids, and possible new late heavy bombardment style event. We're not talking about billions of years in the future. In geological terms, 100 million years is next week. Mercury's death warrant, 1 to 3 billion years. Jupiter is slowly signing Mercury's death warrant using Venus as the pen. Here's how. Jupiter gravitationally perturbs Venus. Venus passes these perturbations to Earth. Earth passes them to Mercury. Mercury's orbit becomes increasingly elliptical. Eventually, Mercury either falls into the Sun, incineration, hits Venus, planetary collision, hits Earth, we die, gets ejected, cosmic homelessness. There's a 1 to 2% chance Mercury hits Earth in the next 3 billion years. Those might sound like good odds until you realize we're talking planetary collision. That's not a risk you want to take. If Mercury hit Earth, impact speed 30 miles per second. Energy released enough to melt both planets. Result? Earth becomes a ball of magma. Recovery time? Never. Game over. And this is Jupiter's fault. It's playing gravitational billiards with the inner planets, and we're one of the balls. 5 billion years, the red giant catastrophe. In about 5 billion years, the sun will exhaust its hydrogen fuel and begin fusing helium. It will expand into a red giant, possibly engulfing Mercury and Venus. Earth might survive, technically, But here's where Jupiter makes everything worse. As the Sun loses mass, stellar wind blows away its outer layers, all planetary orbits will expand, but they won't expand uniformly because of Jupiter. Jupiter's massive gravity will cause orbital resonances to shift chaotically, planets to migrate unpredictably, possible planetary collisions, and Earth potentially being ejected from the solar system. Even as the Sun dies, Jupiter will be there, making sure Earth's death is as chaotic and violent as possible. It's committed to making our end messy. After the Sun dies, Jupiter will still be there. The inner planets might be gone, vaporized, ejected, or frozen, but Jupiter will endure. In this dead solar system, Jupiter will be the dominant gravitational force. Any remaining asteroids will be under its sole control. It will continue capturing objects from interstellar space, and it will reign over a graveyard of its own making. Jupiter will outlive us all. It will outlive the Sun as we know it. It will float in the darkness, a massive monument to 10 billion years of gravitational tyranny. Eventually, even Jupiter will die. In about 10 trillion years, the white dwarf Sun will cool to a black dwarf, Jupiter will freeze solid, its moons will be dark, frozen rocks, and the solar system will be a cold, dead memorial to what once was. But even in death, Jupiter's gravitational influence will persist. Its frozen corpse will still have mass, still bend space-time, still affect any passing objects. Jupiter's ghost will haunt the universe long after everything else is forgotten. It's the cosmic equivalent of salting the Earth, making sure nothing can grow even after you're gone.
All right, I've spent a lot of your time telling you how Jupiter is basically the solar system's worst neighbor, a gravitational bully, and a cosmic terrorist. But here's where things get really, really messed up. We need to talk about the ultimate mindfuck of our existence. We're only alive to hate Jupiter because of Jupiter. I know. Trust me, I hate this as much as you do. The rare Earth hypothesis meets its abuser. The rare Earth hypothesis suggests that complex life is extraordinarily rare in the universe because it requires a perfect storm of conditions. And one of those conditions? A large gas giant in the outer solar system. Oh, fantastic. Our abuser is also our creator? This is like finding out you were conceived during a bank robbery. Here's what Jupiter actually did right, and I can't believe I'm saying this. 1. The water delivery service. Earth formed inside the snow line, the distance from the sun where water ice can exist. Inside this line, it was too hot for water to condense. Earth should be a dry rock, but it's not. It's a water world. Where did the water come from? Asteroids and comets from beyond the snow line. And what shepherded those water-bearing rocks inward? Jupiter, during the Grand Tack. Jupiter's inward migration scattered water-rich asteroids into the inner solar system. Some hit Earth, delivering oceans worth of water. Without Jupiter's gravitational bullying, Earth would be a desert planet. No oceans, no life, no us. Thanks for waterboarding our planet into habitability, Jupiter. Real nice of you. 2. The Goldilocks beating. Jupiter's Grand Tack didn't just deliver water, but it also prevented Earth from growing too large. Without Jupiter's interference, Earth might have become a super-Earth, 5 to 10 times our current mass. Super-Earths have problems. Crushing gravity, good luck evolving complex land animals, thick Venus-like atmospheres, extreme greenhouse effects, possible hydrogen-helium atmospheres that never clear. Jupiter beat Earth down to the perfect size. Not too big, not too small, just right for life, through violence. It's like Jupiter was an abusive Goldilocks, breaking into our house, destroying our furniture, but accidentally leaving us with exactly the right size bed. 3. The Pest Control Service. Sort of. Yes, Jupiter throws asteroids at us, but it also cleared out 99% of the primordial planetesimals that would have made the inner solar system uninhabitable. During its migrations, Jupiter ejected billions of objects that would have continuously bombarded Earth. It's like hiring an exterminator who kills most of the pests, but keeps some as pets and occasionally releases them in your house. Net positive? Maybe. Ideal situation? Absolutely not. The anthropic principle nightmare. Here's the philosophical nightmare that keeps me up at night. We can only exist to observe and hate Jupiter because of Jupiter. In universes where Jupiter-like planets don't form, there might be no complex life to notice their absence. In universes where Jupiter-like planets are even more violent, there's definitely no life. We exist in the narrow window where Jupiter is just violent enough to create us, but not violent enough to destroy us immediately. We won the worst lottery ever. The prize, existence under constant threat from our creator. But wait, it gets worse, or better, or I don't even know anymore. Jupiter's periodic bombardments might have accelerated evolution. Here's the sick logic. Mass extinctions clear ecological niches. Surviving organisms rapidly diversify. Evolution accelerates. Complexity increases. Eventually, intelligence emerges. Without Jupiter's periodic attempts at genocide, life might have stayed microbial. The dinosaurs had 165 million years of dominance and never developed technology. It took an asteroid impact, possibly sent by Jupiter, to clear them out and give mammals a chance. Every mass extinction in Earth's history has been followed by an explosion of evolutionary innovation. Jupiter isn't just trying to kill us, it's been selectively breeding us for survival through attempted murder. We're not just Stockholm Syndrome victims, we're the result of a 4 billion-year breeding program run by a planet that doesn't know we exist. The ultimate conspiracy. Purposeful design? Okay, I'm going to say something insane. What if this is all intentional? Not by Jupiter, it's just a ball of gas. But what if the universe naturally evolves solar systems that create life through violence? What if gravitational chaos is the universe's way of mixing the chemical pot, preventing stagnation, forcing adaptation, creating observers? I'm not saying it's aliens. I'm not saying it's God. I'm saying the physics of the universe might be fine-tuned to create life through cosmic abuse. And that's somehow worse than intelligent design.
So here we are. After minutes of exposing Jupiter's crimes, revealing its violence, documenting its ongoing threats, we're left with an uncomfortable truth. They're all rolled into one 318 Earth mass package. We can't leave it. We're gravitationally bound for the next 5 billion years minimum. We can't fight it. It outmasses us 318 to 1. We can't even properly defend ourselves from the asteroids it throws at us. We're still cataloging them. We live every day under the shadow of a giant that has killed worlds, that continues to threaten us, that will outlive us, and that we owe our existence to. Earth's relationship with Jupiter is the most toxic relationship in the solar system, and we're stuck in it. But here's the thing, and this is important. Knowing the truth gives us power. Not power over Jupiter, but power over our own fate. We can track the asteroids Jupiter sends our way. We can develop planetary defense systems. We can predict future bombardments